Okay, so I've been meaning to get to this topic, but the ships being attacked in Sevastopol got in the way. So Kim Jong-un met with Vladimir Putin, and they got together to discuss, well, some kind of swap, missiles or armaments, shells for whatever it was that Kim Jong-un wanted, which he wants to move ahead in technology that he can't reach because he's kind of sanctioned by the West. It'll be interesting to see what kind of deal they can actually make without violating UN sanctions that Putin signed on to. So I read a number of articles about this, and so here's the most recent news. Kim Jong-un promises North Korea's full support. Well, first, if you have to get North Korea's support, that's not a good look. Full support for Russia's just fight. It's translated differently, but just fight here. North Korea says Kim Jong-un has invited President Vladimir Putin to his country, one of the few countries that Vladimir Putin can actually go to without worrying about being sent to The Hague. Why Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin need each other right now? I'm not sure who benefits more, but in my mind, this is so weird because what's happening is, and I've used the analogy between China and Russia, that Russia was the big brother and China was a little brother, and China over time has gradually creeped up and become kind of the stronger looking figure in the region. But now we're doing that, and I compared it to like the difference between China and North Korea. But now it's looking like North Korea is looking strong, not stronger than Russia, but it's creeping up toward that. And it's really bizarre to think like if you had told me that this would be happening back in January of 2022, I would have lost money on that bet. Okay, so Russian state TV, how are they handling this? Russian state TV gushes about Kim Jong-un's visit. And so we're going to watch the Russian Media Monitor. Thank you to the Russian Media Monitor for their great work. And we'll just see how they're what we're looking for is what are they trying to say to the Russian public, because this is in Russian and they're trying to present an image a particular way. What are they trying to do? So here we go. I'll read it and then I'll pause periodically. Kim Jong-un thanked Putin for a warm reception in Russia and said that he has a special appreciation for the role of the USSR, of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Kim said that Russia rose up in a sacred fight. Now, a sacred fight is the translation I was talking about here, as opposed to a just fight is the translation in AP. A sacred fight? For the defense of its sovereignty and North Korea, always supported and continues to support all of Putin's decisions against imperialism. Okay, it boggles the imagination when they talk about imperialism as if they're not acting in an imperialistic manner in what they're trying to do to Ukraine. It's just like words mean something when they use it, but they don't mean something the rest of the time. I just don't understand. Okay, as Kim put it, and the dishes served in honor of the special guest include crab sturgeon with mushrooms and potatoes, marbled beef, who cares, and grilled vegetables, a salad of duck. A dessert will also be served. Why would they be talking about that in this? Part of me wonders if it wasn't because there was a lack of substance to what was actually going on here. It looked like a big to-do, but I don't know that anything really significant was done. I could be wrong. I wasn't there, but they're playing this up as if it was some kind of huge activity where this is the president of North Korea, the dictator of North Korea. Millions of his people are literally on the edge of starvation. I'm not making that up. I mean, Google North Korea at night and see the difference between South Korea and North Korea. South Korea is completely lit up. North Korea is like nothing. Wow. With lingonberries and pine nuts and condensed milk. Wow. An exclusive report on how the talks are going from Yevgeny Pavlov. Are you jet lagged? He asks. Yes, unfortunately, just like everyone else. who travels from the European part. You go to bed Moscow time, but you have to get up local time. That reminds me of a great joke that is in my not last video, but like 2 videos ago. If you haven't seen it, go look up the video that I have 2 jokes about Russia. They're awesome. But I have to get up on local time, he says. Kim Jong-un is arriving in his automobile. It's a Maybach. There are 2 flags on his car. So, in this footage, this was funny, I saw this the other day. Representatives from the North Korean delegation are preparing the place where Kim Jong-un will sit during his talks in the extended format. The chair is being treated with a special solution and then wiped clean with a special white cloth. That's news? Like, okay, he's a little bit of a germphobe, but on the way to the talks, Putin and Kim Jong-un made an unplanned stop. I'm sure it was unplanned. Putin demonstrated a domestic automobile heiress to the North Korean leader. Kim Jong-un sat in the president's place and marveled that there was an automobile. Wow, you have these? No, I'm just kidding. And Putin took a seat behind the driver. In the near future, the North Korean leader will likely switch to this Russian limousine. Here, the Maybach, which Kim Jong-un has been traveling aside from the train, as we know, along with Putin, both leaders have looked at the heiress. Kim Jong-un sat in the president's place. What? Where's the news value here? Like, what? Why does any of this matter? It's actually kind of mind-boggling, but this is what they're playing for their domestic audience. Kim Jong-un sat in the president's place. I'm certain he liked it. I'm sure that soon this German, I almost said junk, perhaps it's a nice expensive car, will be replaced with a Russian limousine. Ah, okay. So you're working in the domestic point about how your Russian automobiles are awesome. And now I saw this article about how Putin was saying, we got to stop driving Mercedes. Like if you're a high official in Russia, don't drive a Mercedes or a BMW. We got to get rid of these. And if you start to drive the Russian manufactured vehicles, their quality will increase. You got it backwards. People drive the quality cars. Like I'm an American, I'm about as patriotic as they make them, but I drive a Toyota and a Honda for a reason, because they just make good cars. So yeah, so that's why they're doing what they're doing here, which tells you that they are trying to prop up their domestic production in a much more meaningful way here, and that's a sign of what's going on in the economy. Okay, we'll be replaced with the Russian limousine. Sergei Kuzninetskis, how are things at the front? The troops are holding an active defense, says Shogu, in the needed and necessary directions. In some places, it's difficult. In others, easier. Could you actually say anything? He used more words to say nothing there than anything that I mean, that was actually pretty masterful if you're trying to not answer the question. I can say that the guys are acting with confidence. Commanders are acting with confidence. They are confidently defending what currently needs to be defended in those directions where the Ukrainian armed forces are attempting to advance. Well, not all those places, because the Ukrainians are actually making taking some ground in Zaporizhia, but we'll see how that all plays out. Destroying the equipment is the main task. Will we win? We have no other options. Now, that didn't really sound like a vote of confidence that, of course, we'll win. Like, what are you, nuts? No, we have no other options. If you even look at his body language here, that was just fascinating. Look at how his arms go out when he says, will we win? And we say, we have no other options. That's pretty amazing. Many thanks. Back to you, Olga. This is simply incredible. It certainly is, but not for the reasons that she's talking about. Our friendship with North Korea is a strike against Wall Street. Soviet agitators attempted to convey this thought to the world with the help of this poster. Let's read. When the burning Korean soil is emptied out, the fireproof safes on Wall Street are filling up. But when the hearts of millions are on fire in their common pursuit, the soil burns under the feet of millionaires. Throughout the years, these words remained relevant. Back then, in the early 1950s of the past century, the USSR supported the founder of North Korea. Okay, so what they were just saying was like communist propaganda lines, but Russia has become more I don't want to say capitalistic because that's the wrong term. More money greedy, like they're talking about the greedy capitalist pigs. Do you know what oligarchs are compared? I mean, how far worse these guys are than any capitalist in the United States? I mean, these guys are like capitalist pig mafia types. I mean, really, the more that I look at Russia, the more that I realize that they're like a mafia state. I mean, that's what's going on with the oligarchs. Okay, and yet they're using this old Soviet propaganda poster, not realizing that this guy in the picture that they're talking about is really them. The USSR supported Kim Il-sung. Today, the grandson of North Korean leader is ready to provide support for our country. At least this is what he just declared. Okay, so that was something, and it was something really bizarre. But if you read between the lines, you start to hear the domestic manufacturer. They didn't really come to any agreement. They are going to meet again. They don't have any news to say, but they're really making it a big puff piece. If they had something significant to say, they would have said it. They wouldn't have just danced around it and here, he's looking at our vehicle and look at what they're eating. So I'm fairly confident that nothing of great significance has come out of that meeting, or at least not this first meeting. Maybe there'll be subsequent meetings. Putin's going to apparently travel to North Korea, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, that's the video that I was wanting to do for the last couple days, but was preempted by the attack in Sevastopol, which was great. I'm glad that I was able to shelve this for that because that was actually amazing. And if you haven't seen the videos I did on that, I did 3 actual videos about what happened in the attack incrementally as we knew more and more information, and you can go back and see those. Thank you for your interest and your how much you care about Ukraine that you would be interested in watching this even now. Thank you for the likes, for the shares, the subscribes. Thank you for the coffees, and thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.